from state law. Today in Florida, a near total abortion ban endangers women's health and their lives every day. I keep thinking about a Central Florida woman I met named Deborah, and at 23 weeks pregnant, she got news every future parent dreads. Her baby's kidneys never developed. Doctors told her that not only would her baby not survive, her own health was in danger. Deborah couldn't get the care she needed in Florida, and she couldn't afford to travel hundreds of miles to get it. She had no choice but to carry her son Milo to term, only to watch him die in her arms 2 hours later. This is Project 2025 in practice. It's what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want for the whole country. But we're not going to let it happen, are we? Now, I say this as a Floridian, but also a mom and an American. We can't let them do to America what they did to Florida. Are you with me? So let's fight like hell to elect Kamala Harris, the next president of the United States of America. Thank you so much.
Please welcome Chair of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, Susan Del Bene.
Hello, Democrats! It is my honor to represent the great state of Washington and to lead the House Democrats' work to take back the majority. As I travel the country, I hear the same thing. People want governance that works. They don't want tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy, not a national abortion ban, or more chaos and dysfunction, or blind loyalty to Trump. In other words, they don't want Republicans in charge. We're here because we need to elect Vice President Harris and Governor Walz. And giving them a Democratic Congress is how we turn promises into progress. A Democratic majority means lowering costs and growing the middle class, expanding the child tax credit and making it permanent, protecting reproductive freedom, and yes, a Democratic House means Speaker Jeffries will certify the 2024 election. We need just 4 more seats to take back the majority. The good news is we have fantastic candidates in winnable districts all across the country. In battleground states like Michigan and Arizona, in blue states like New York and California, and even in states like Iowa and Nebraska. And we're going to make history by picking up a seat in the state where I was born, Alabama. In 2022, we came within 7,000 votes of the majority. So it's within our power to win these critical races. This election is about our rights, our freedoms, our democracy, and our future. So let's get out the vote. Let's take back the House. Let's make Hakeem Jeffries our next speaker. And let's send Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to the White House. Thank you.
Please welcome Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison.
Friends, I'll never forget when I first saw the video of the murder of George Floyd. I was heartbroken. I was angry. And that morning, my phone rang. And on that line was Governor Tim Walz. Tim Walz felt the exact same way I did. And a few days later, Tim appointed me to prosecute Floyd's murder. Almost a year after that, minutes after the guilty verdict came down, my phone rang again. And it was Vice President Kamala Harris calling to congratulate my team and the work. Now, Kamala and Tim, they understand the legacy of George Floyd. No one is above the law, and no one is beneath it. No one is outside the circle of our compassion. In the Republican Party, everyone thinks they're above the law. Hell, nearly a dozen of their own lawyers are facing serious charges. Even their lawyers need lawyers. These con artists are trafficking in the defective goods of division, exclusion, and fear. And friends, selling defective goods is a scam. And like Kamala Harris, I am an attorney general. And attorney generals know what a scam is when they see it. Like my friend Tish James, for example, from New York. America, we won't be scammed again. We're not going back, we are going forward. And Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are ready to lead us there. I've worked side by side with Tim Walz for 18 years. His office is right across the hall from mine. And I've seen him deliver for the people of the state of Minnesota every day. Everybody knows Minnesota is one of the best states to live in, to raise a family, to do business, and we've got the best voter turnout in America. Facts. Kamala and Tim, they fight for the people, and they also listen. And when they say we need a ceasefire and an end to the loss of innocent lives in Gaza, and to bring hostages home, they're listening, friends. They agree with us. There are people watching tonight, and maybe even here tonight, who aren't sure yet about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. If you want to know where they stand on some of the most urgent issues facing our country and the world, let me assure you, Kamala and Tim hear you. They listen. They care, and everyone is included in their circle of compassion. They believe that everybody counts and everybody matters. Let's put a stop to the scam of Donald Trump once and for all, and let's put Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the White House. Let's go win.
Have you ever discussed Special Counsel Mueller or his investigation with anyone?
Could you repeat that question?
Has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone? Yes or no, please, sir? Seems you'd remember something like that.
I don't know.
Please answer the question.
Senator, I think I've answered the question.
No, you've not.
I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
Can you think of any laws that give government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now. Never mind.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Please welcome Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel.
Hello, Chicago. I'm Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Let me tell you, being Attorney General is a tough job, right? But as California's Attorney General, Kamala Harris never shied away from a good fight. She's held accountable environmental polluters, sexual abusers, and transnational gangs. But what really stands out is when she stood up and protected her constituents' freedoms. In 2011, she refused to defend California's ban on same-sex marriage. She refused to argue that some families should have fewer rights than other families. It meant a lot. She was fighting for families like mine. Now, in 2022, I faced a similar situation when, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, Michigan's archaic abortion ban was resurrected. But Vice President Harris had my back, and she reminded me that protecting people's lives and defending their rights is our job. And just as the same-sex marriage ban was overturned in California, so too was the abortion ban in Michigan. By the way, I got a message for the Republicans and the justices of the United States Supreme Court. You can pry this wedding band from my cold, dead, gay hand. And I'm retaining a lot of water, so good luck with that. Look, I know that whether she's Attorney General or President of the United States, Kamala Harris will always be in our corner. Now, America, you get to be the judge. Do we go back to the corruption, criminality, and chaos of Donald Trump? Or do we move forward with Kamala Harris? We know when she takes an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, she's actually read it. We know that she'll appoint Supreme Court justices who will protect our freedoms. And let me tell you, Kamala knows you go from the courthouse to the White House, not the other way around. Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.
Wow. Wow. I just want to say thank you, Attorney General Nessel. So coming up, we have John and Rachel, proud, loving parents of 3. On October 7th, their son Hirsch, a U.S. citizen, was at a music festival when Hamas attacked. He was taken hostage, and he is still being held today, an American citizen. Rachel and John want what every parent wants: to hold their child close, to love on them and keep them safe. I'm honored to introduce the two of them tonight.
At this moment, 109 treasured human beings are being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza. They are Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists. They are from 23 different countries. The youngest hostage is a 1-year-old red-headed baby boy, and the oldest is an 86-year-old mustachioed grandpa. Among the hostages are 8 American citizens. One of those Americans is our only son. His name is Hirsch. He's 23 years old. And like Vice President Kamala Harris, Hirsch was born in Oakland, California. Hirsch is a happy-go-lucky, laid-back, good-humored, respectful, and curious person. He is a civilian. He loves soccer, is wild about music and music festivals, and he has been obsessed with geography and travel since he was a little boy. His bedroom overflows with atlases, globes, maps, and National Geographic magazines. On October 7th, Hirsch and his best friend, Honor, went to a music festival in the south of Israel. It was advertised as celebrating peace, love, and unity. They also went to celebrate Hirsch's 23rd birthday. As rockets began to fall, Hirsch, Honor, and 27 other young festival goers took refuge in a 5-foot by 8-foot bomb shelter. Terrorists began to throw grenades into the shelter. Honor stood in the doorway and repelled 7 of those grenades before the 8th one killed him. Altogether at the Nova Music Festival, 367 young music lovers were killed. This was just one of the many attacks on neighborhoods and communities in southern Israel on that terrible day. In total, 1,200 were killed, including 45 Americans. Hirsch's left forearm, his dominant arm, was blown off before he was loaded onto a pickup truck and stolen from his life and me and John into Gaza. And that was 320 days ago. Since then, we live on another planet. Anyone who is a parent or has had a parent can try to imagine the anguish and misery that John and I and all the hostage families are enduring.
Rachel and I are comforted to be back in our sweet home, Chicago. We were both born and raised here, and our families still live here. This is a political convention, but needing our only son and all of the cherished hostages home is not a political issue. It is a humanitarian issue. The families of the American 8 hostages meet every few weeks in Washington. We're heartened that both Democratic and Republican leaders demonstrate their bipartisan support for our hostages being released. We've met with President Biden and Vice President Harris numerous times at the White House. They're both working tirelessly for a hostage and ceasefire deal that will bring our precious children, mothers, fathers, spouses, grandparents, and grandchildren home, and will stop the despair in Gaza. We are all deeply grateful to them. We're also profoundly thankful to you, the millions of people in the United States and all over the world who have been sending love, support, and strength to the hostage families. You've kept us breathing in a world without air. There is a surplus of agony on all sides of the tragic conflict in the Middle East. In a competition of pain, there are no winners. In our Jewish tradition, we say, Kol Adam Olam Umlo'o. Every person is an entire universe. We must save all these universes. In an inflamed Middle East, we know the one thing that can most immediately release pressure and bring calm to the entire region: a deal that brings this diverse group of 109 hostages home and ends the suffering of the innocent civilians in Gaza. The time is now.
Hirsch, if you can hear us, we love you. Stay strong. Survive.
Bring them home.
Now, some of you may have the wrongful impression that I'm about to sing with this man. That ain't gonna happen. But I'll tell you what, I want to bring you all to a street in Newark, New Jersey called Martin Luther King Boulevard. On that street was this incredible housing project called Brick Towers. We never mistaked wealth with worth. In those towers was a tenant president named Miss Virginia Jones. Her son was murdered in the 1980s in the lobby of one of those buildings, but she was a woman of invincible joy. And I'll tell you this, I used to ask her, how are you so joyful? And she would always tell me, as church woman, she'd say, the joy I have, the world didn't give it to me. Come on now, come on now. She taught me that you've got to generate the joy, that hope is the active conviction that despair will never have the last word. And so tonight, there are so many challenges in our nation. There are so many problems that we're facing. Heck, if America hasn't broken your heart, you don't love her enough. But yet, we will be joyful warriors. We are going to bring back to the journey of our nation joy. And if there's any tradition in America that has helped us to generate that joy, it has been the artists of America. It has been those folks bringing the rock and roll and the funk, bringing the gospel and the hard rock. Well, tonight we are blessed by one of those great American artists that helps us to cleanse our spirits, to raise our hearts, and to bring in that joy. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you one of the true greats in America, someone to bring the joy to this incredible arena, Maren Morris. All right, all right. You know what? I'm inspired. Maybe I will sing a song. To Donald Trump, a little B.B. King classic, The Thrill Is Gone. I want you all to know tonight is about joy. American history, our common history, is a testimony to taking on the insurmountable and achieving the impossible. That should bring us joy. Our progress never, ever came easy. But in America, we do hard things. We built labor unions and small businesses. We created great public education and world-changing innovation. We nurtured the best athletes and artists humanity has ever seen, and we kept the promise of Medicare and Social Security for our seniors. Look at who we are. Against bigotry and hate, we advanced equal rights for all Americans. Civil rights, workers' rights, LGBTQ rights, reproductive rights, the right to marry who you love, the right to be free. We did all of this in a way that didn't pit American against American. We did this by healing rifts, by bridging divides, by pulling people together. And all the while, we in this nation lived up to our calling and our creed to be a more perfect union, to make this one nation under God a little more indivisible. Now, you all know this. Trump betrays these ideals. He viciously attacks Democrats and Republicans. His put-downs know no shame. John McCain's military service, Nikki Haley's heritage, women, people with disabilities, trans people, our veterans. He is indiscriminate in his put-downs. His is the politics of smear and fear, not inspiration and elevation. Donald Trump speaks more of American carnage than American compassion. But in America, you can't lead the people if you don't love the people. All the people. Now, our nominees, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they bring the joy. Think about it. They're descendants of immigrants, shopkeepers, slaves, educators, people who faced pain with perseverance, people who met hate with love. They are the living dreams of their ancestors. But look in this arena, look around you right now. We are all our ancestors' wildest dreams. Generations who faced impossible odds and that responded to every one of their challenges with that classic American creed, yes, we can. So there are doubters out there. There are people that doubt our collective strength. They want to tell us how bad we are. They want to say that they alone can save us. Well, we know that the power of the people is greater than the people in power. And we're not going to lose our faith. Look, I want everybody in here to let us all say it together. I believe in America. Let me hear you. I believe in America. I believe in America because our elders told us that no matter what the obstacle, like the gospel says, we shall overcome. I believe in America because our soldiers died on beaches and battlefields. They died at sea and in the air so that we could be free today and say together, I believe in America. I believe in America because our fighters fought at Stonewall. Our marchers marched in Selma. Delegates met at Seneca Falls. Every single one of them believed in America, even when America didn't believe in them. Say it with me now. I believe in America because King dared to dream the impossible dream, because Neil Armstrong went to impossible heights, and because when we elect Kamala Harris, there is not a boy or girl in America from any creed, color, or heritage that will ever think being President of the United States is impossible again. Say it with me. I believe in America, the land of hope and heroism. I believe in America, the land of courage and compassion. I believe in America, where we share common ground and common cause and one common destiny. And let me tell you, if you believe in America, if you love in America, then you will work for America. And when we work together, when we stand together, when we organize together, when we vote together, I will tell you this, when we fight, we win. Ladies and gentlemen, Veronica Escobar.
Buenas noches. Like countless Texans, I grew up going back and forth across the border from El Paso to Ciudad Juarez. My family would shop, have dinner, go to the doctor, pick up medicines. The border is my beloved home, the place where my children grew up. Forget what you hear on the news. I'm from there. When it comes to the border, hear me when I say, you know nothing, Donald Trump. He and his Republican imitators see the border and immigration as a political opportunity to exploit instead of an issue to address. Congress hasn't passed comprehensive immigration reform in nearly 4 decades. The 3 times they tried, Republicans blocked legislation that would have funded border security and created a more humane immigration system. They are not serious people. You know who is serious? Kamala Harris. I met the Vice President when she visited El Paso. I saw firsthand how she engaged with law enforcement, migrants, and human rights advocates. She was curious. She asked questions. She listened. And she didn't care if the cameras were on. Most of all, she recognized that the situation at the border is complicated, as filled with opportunities as it is with challenges. All Republicans have to offer is demonization and bluster. Democrats have solutions. With Kamala Harris as president, we can live up to the promise of America. We can strengthen legal pathways to immigration. We can secure our borders, and we can treat with dignity those who seek a better future within them.
I have a question for you. Who really wants a solution at our border?
Our administration worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it.
And that bill included thousands of new border agents and personnel, new technology that can detect and stop fentanyl, more judges, and faster asylum processing. For the first time in decades, a chance at a real bipartisan solution.
But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate to vote it down.
They're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay, please blame it on me, please.
He tanked the bipartisan deal because he thought it would help him win an election. Which goes to show Donald Trump does not care about border security. He only cares about himself.
The real difference is,
I was the Attorney General of a border state. In that job, I walked underground tunnels between the United States and Mexico on that border with law enforcement officers. I went after transnational gangs, drug cartels, and human traffickers that came into our country illegally. I prosecuted them in case after case, and I won. So here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump killed, and I will sign it into law and show Donald Trump what real leadership looks like.
Please welcome Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy.
So, I just want to let you know, that everything that you just saw in that video, that's exactly what happened. I know because I was the Democratic senator who negotiated that bill to secure the border with President Biden and Vice President Harris. And I want to tell you this as well. Donald Trump's allies weren't just in the room. They helped us write the whole bill. It was a bipartisan bill. It was a tough bill. $20 billion in new border security, gave the president the emergency power to shut down the border, made compassionate but serious reforms to our asylum system. One Republican said it would have had almost unanimous support if it weren't for Donald Trump. Trump killed that bill, and he did it because he knew that if we fixed the border, he'd lose his ability to divide us, his ability to fan the flames of fear about people who come from different places. Right? You guys know this, right? Hate and division, that's Trump's oxygen. Right? People like Trump and J.D. Vance, they need it to survive in politics. People are saying that they're weird, that they're creepy, and they are weird, they are creepy. But even worse, they're weak. Kamala Harris is not weak. For 20 years, Kamala Harris has been tough as nails when it comes to securing our border. When she was a California prosecutor, she went after drug smugglers, human traffickers. She put 100 gang members away in a single sweep. Trump says that a safe nation can't be an immigrant nation. That's flat wrong, and Kamala Harris knows it. She knows this, too. Engraved on the Statue of Liberty is a poem. The last line reads, "I lift my lamp beside the golden door." For generations, that lamp has called people to start a brave new life in America. My ancestors, your ancestors, and the parents of the next President of the United States of America. Kamala Harris knows that we can be a nation of proud immigrants and a nation of strong immigration laws. That's why when she's president, she will bring that border bill back, and Kamala Harris is going to pass it. How do I know this? Because in this race, there is only one candidate who has ever been willing to do the worthy, redeeming work of making our country better, of recognizing that we do not have to choose between celebrating our heritage and enforcing our laws, right? The beautiful thing about America is that we can be both. We can be a nation of immigrants who love their country and a nation with a secure border. And there is only one candidate. There is only one candidate who can deliver that vision of America, and it's Kamala Harris. Thank you very much, Democrats.
Please welcome Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar.
On the other side of the border, the traffickers, they pack migrants into 18-wheelers like cattle, 50, 100 at a time. Then they seal the doors. That's when the 911 calls come. We hear them, desperate, terrified, gasping for air. Now, sometimes we get there in time. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, we can't. When Donald Trump comes down to Texas, stands next to officers in uniforms just like mine, he's not there to help us. Don't think that, not for a second. He is a self-serving man. I mean, look, just like when he killed the border bill, he just made our jobs harder. Now, Kamala, on the other hand, has been fighting border crime for years. She's gone down to Mexico and worked to stop the traffickers. And when the traffickers didn't stop, she put them in jail. Now, down in my neck of the woods, we call that fooling around and finding out. I may be paraphrasing a bit. We protect them. Now, the border sheriffs that I know, right, and we're like Kamala. We protect and serve. We enforce the law. We show compassion. And we fight like hell to protect our border. Because as we've always known in Texas, cuando luchamos, ganamos. When we fight, we win.
Please welcome California Representative Pete Aguilar.
I'm Pete Aguilar, chair of the Democratic Caucus. For 4 generations, my family has called California home. I grew up in San Bernardino, a working-class community defined by family, faith, and hard work. These values, shared by Latino families across this country, are what made my family's American dream possible. And only Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will protect the American dream so that every family can earn a living, own a home, and reach their full potential. This is a vision for America that Donald Trump will never understand. All he knows is chaos and division. He talks about tearing American families apart, pitting neighbor against neighbor, community against community. Compare that to what Kamala Harris has done as vice president. Almost 500,000 people who live here and are married to a U.S. citizen can now apply for lawful permanent residents. DACA recipients who graduated college have easier access to work visas. And we would have much more security at the border if Donald Trump hadn't tanked the bipartisan bill. Folks, we don't have to choose between a secure border and building an America for all. Under President Harris, we can and will do both. As a prosecutor, she took on transnational gangs and cartels. As president, she will fight for pathways to citizenship. And I can tell you, as the highest-ranking Latino in Congress, our community understands the stakes in this election because we believe in the promise of this country. We believe our nation is stronger when we keep families together. We believe our union is more perfect when dreamers become doctors, teachers, construction workers, and military service members. Latinos believe in that American dream and a brighter future. One where we secure our border, fix our broken immigration system, and unlock economic opportunity for all. And together, we will win. Thank you.
I'm a Filipino-Japanese DACA recipient.
I am a third-year medical student, and I am a DACA recipient.
Thanks to DACA, I've been able to open up my own business and represent clients as a lawyer.
So many of my dreams came a little bit closer.
It is disheartening to know that the court system may end DACA next year, and to also hear Donald Trump calling for mass deportations.
It is time that we recognize dreamers for who they are. We are contributors to this great nation.
I support Vice President Harris, who has continued to fight for DACA recipients.
She was the one who stood with us, who sat with us, who heard our stories.
We need a future President Harris to ensure that dreamers like me can continue to work and provide for ourselves, our communities, and our families.
Please welcome United States Marine Corps veteran, Carlos Eduardo Espina.
Buenas noches, mi gente. My name is Carlos Eduardo Espina. And if 2 decades ago, when my parents immigrated to College Station, Texas, you told them that one day their son would reach 14 million followers on social media, graduate law school, and speak at the Democratic National Convention, they might not believe you. But this is the United States of America, the land of opportunities where anything is possible. I know this because daily I interact with people who, like my parents, came to America to fulfill the dreams and ambitions that in their home countries were impossible. People who work hard, contribute to society, pay taxes because, yes, immigrants pay taxes, and love this country deeply. The same people Donald Trump wants you to believe are poisoning the blood of our country. This is dangerous, and it is outright anti-American. Because as Ronald Reagan, a Republican, once said, we lead the world because unique among nations, we draw our people, our strength from every country and every corner of the world. Reagan knew that welcoming immigrants is not a Democratic or a Republican value, it is an American value. To be pro-immigrant is to be pro-America. And that's why Kamala Harris understands this too. And that's why, once elected, she will reject hate and find solutions that make our nation stronger. So let's get her elected. Let's get her elected. And ensure that our country remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity for all. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the great state of Texas!
Please welcome former Homeland Security and Counterterrorism Advisor to Vice President Pence, Olivia Troy.
4 years ago, I resigned from the Trump administration. As a Republican who dreamed of working in the White House, it was a hard decision. But as an American, it was the right one. I saw how Donald Trump undermined our intelligence community, our military leaders, and ultimately our democratic process. Now, he's doing it again, lying and laying the groundwork to undermine this election. It's his MO to sow doubt and division. That's what Trump wants because it's the only way he wins. And that's what our foreign adversaries want because it's the only way they win. As a national security expert y como latina y hija de una inmigrante mexicana que realizó el sueño americano, being inside Trump's White House was terrifying. But what keeps me up at night is what'll happen if he gets back there. The guardrails are gone. The few adults in the room the first time resigned or were fired. I grew up in the kind of working family that Trump pretends to care about. Conservative, Catholic, Texan. July 4th was our most sacred holiday. Those values made me a Republican. And they're the same values that make me proud to support Kamala Harris. Not because we agree on every issue, but because we agree on the most important issue, protecting our freedom. So to my fellow Republicans, you aren't voting for a Democrat. You're voting for democracy. You aren't betraying our party. You're standing up for our country. Thank you. Gracias.
Please welcome former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan.
Good evening. I bring greetings from the great state of Georgia. So let's get the hard part out of the way. I am a Republican. But tonight, I stand here as an American. An American that cares more about the future of this country than the future of Donald Trump. My journey started to this podium years ago when I realized Donald Trump was willing to lie, cheat, and steal to try to overturn the 2020 election. I realized Trump was a direct threat to democracy, and his actions disqualified him from ever stepping foot into the Oval Office again. I could spend my time revving up this crowd, but I'm certain I don't have to talk anybody out of voting for Donald Trump here. So I'm going to focus my attention on the millions of Republicans and independents that are at home that are sick and tired of making excuses for Donald Trump. If Republicans are being intellectually honest with ourselves, our party is not civil or conservative. It's chaotic and crazy, and the only thing left to do is dump Trump. These days, our party acts more like a cult worshiping a felonious thug. Look, you don't have to agree with every policy position of Kamala Harris. I don't. But you do have to recognize her prosecutor mindset that understands right from wrong, good from evil. She's a steady hand and will bring leadership to the White House that Donald Trump could never do. Let me be clear to my Republican friends at home watching. If you vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, you're not a Democrat, you're a patriot. In our family, my wife Brooke and I are raising 3 boys, and we have a family motto. And it says, doing the right thing will never be the wrong thing. During 2020, during just the lowest of lows, when we had armed officers outside our house protecting us from other Republicans, Donald Trump had targeted us. My son came downstairs, and he handed me this coaster that I'd given him years before at a father-son retreat for our church. And he said, hey, Dad, doing the right thing will never be the wrong thing. Stay strong. To my fellow Republicans at home that want to pivot back towards policy, empathy, and tone, you know the right thing to do. Now let's have the courage to do it in November. Thank you, and God bless you.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
It does look like we're going to have an ad hoc march stepping off here. There's a crowd surge heading east.
Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country. And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
We're going to give riot warnings. We're out of here. We're going to give riot warnings. We're going to try and get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
5 to 50 be advised. They're trying to breach and get to the Capitol.
Hold the line! Hold the line! Hold the line!
Capitol. Breach of the Capitol to the upper level. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution. Bring out Pence. Bring out Pence. Bring out Pence.
Too many people. Look at this vantage point, man.
We're trying to hold the upper deck. We're trying to hold the upper deck down. We need an area for the House members. They're all walking over now through the tunnels. We need to move now.
Copy.
If we lose any more time, we may lose the ability to leave. So if we're going to leave, we need to do it now. We lost the line. We lost the line. All PD, pull back. All PD, pull back into the upper deck.
H208 with 4 members. The doors barricade. There's people flooded the hallways outside. We have no way out.
Officers still remaining on the House floor, so we can secure the members on the other side. Copy. Officers down! Get them up! Get them up!
And if I win, I will be looking very, very strongly about pardons. And I mean full pardons with an apology to many, an apology. They were peaceful people. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable. And I mentioned the word love, the love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
Please welcome Mississippi Representative Benny Thompson.
On January 6th, like most of my colleagues, I had one goal: to uphold the votes of the American people, the cornerstone of our American democracy. But as what you just witnessed, let me remind you that the members of that violent mob had another goal. They wanted to stop the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American democracy. Thank God they failed. Because in this country, we settle our differences at the ballot box, not through violence. It took a long time to get here, and we are not going back. Because I remember that dark history. It's my own history. In this life, my father never cast a vote because of Jim Crow. So I dedicated my career to protecting the votes against violence and discrimination. You can imagine what I felt on January 6th when I saw with my own eyes those insurrectionists trying to take that away. They did it to rob millions of Americans of their votes. They did it because Donald Trump couldn't handle losing. He lied about the election fraud. He called his conspiracy-led mob to Washington. He would rather subvert democracy than submit to it. Now, he's plotting again.
His campaign proclaims that elections won't end until the moment of inauguration. We will win or it was rigged. We win or else. This is Donald Trump's America. Elections are about choice. Choose democracy, not political violence. Choose the America we've always taught our children to love. Choose Kamala Harris.
Please welcome former United States Capitol Police Sergeant Aquilino Ganell.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Before I begin, I need to acknowledge the sacrifices that 5 officers who died as a result of January 6 made on that day. My name is Aquilino Ganell. I immigrated to the U.S. from the Dominican Republic when I was 12. I became an American citizen. I was a sergeant in the U.S. Army and a Capitol Police officer. I had seen violence while serving in Iraq, but nothing prepared me for January 6. We officers risked everything to protect innocent people. We were beaten and blinded. I was assaulted with a pole attached to the American flag. President Trump summoned our attackers and sided with them. He betrayed us. When I joined the Army and Capitol Police, I took an oath to defend the Constitution. I did so with duty in my soul, and I still feel it. To Donald Trump, I ask, why don't you? On January 6, I nearly died protecting the Capitol, and I will do it again for our democracy. The way to preserve it is to elect Kamala Harris, our first female commander-in-chief.
Please welcome New Jersey Representative Andy Kim.
When I was a kid, my parents brought me to the Capitol. They taught me that it's sacred ground, a symbol of our democracy. When I got to Congress, I was excited to bring my little boys to the same beautiful building. I asked them, "Do you like the Capitol?" And my oldest son, Austin, said, "I love the Capitol, and lowercase too." They are so sweet. But shortly after, we saw something unimaginable. A mob tearing down flags, assaulting police officers. That night, I walked into the rotunda. The floor was covered in broken glass and garbage, strewn with the chaos unleashed by Donald Trump. And I thought to myself, how did it get this bad? So I did the only thing I could think of. I grabbed a trash bag and started cleaning up. What I learned on January 6th is that all of us are caretakers for our great republic. We can heal this country, but only if we try. Many of you are doing your part through your voices and your votes. Always remember, this chaos that we see, it doesn't have to be this way. As a father, I refuse to believe that our kids are doomed to grow up in a broken America. There is a hunger right now in this country for a new generation of leadership to step up. Let's choose Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Let's do this for our kids and our grandkids. Thank you.
Please welcome Olivia Juliana.
Hello from a proud Texas Democrat. This November, I'll cast my first vote in a presidential election ever. The fact is, our right to vote is under attack. I've seen it. Long wait lines. People blocked from registering to vote. Texans denied our voice. Donald Trump's Republicans are making it harder for us to vote, but we won't let them get away with it. And Kamala Harris won't let them get away with it either. She's fought for our freedoms. She's fought for our voice, but we will only be heard if we vote. As the saying goes, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So Gen Z, let's take our seat in our democracy and cast our ballots this November for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And now, ladies and gentlemen, American icon Stevie Wonder.
I love you. I just want to say, I love you. I love you. And every song that I've sang, every song that I've written, it's because of my love for you right here. But this year I've prayed very hard for peace to come to our world's nations, but also to each one of our hearts. Even though our hearts have been beaten and broken, beyond prayer, I know the importance of action, and now is the time to understand where we are and what it will take to win. Win the broken hearts, win the disenchanted, win the angry spirits. Now is the time. This is the moment to remember when you tell your children where you were and what you did. As we stand between history's pain and tomorrow's promises, we must choose courage over complacency. It is time to get up and go vote. Listen, the choice is clear, clearer than anyone else is saying. Did you hear me? Clearer than anyone else is saying. You feel me? We need to choose joy over anger, kindness over recrimination, and peace over war. Every time.
We must choose to be above the ugly words, the hateful anger, and the division those words and anger create. We must keep on keeping on until we truly are a united people of these United States. And then we will reach our higher ground. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready to reach a higher ground? Are you ready to reach our higher ground? Tell me. I want to hear you again. Are you ready? Are we ready? Because you know we need Kamala Harris. Yes, we do. And we need a great man, as we do have, as a future vice president. You know that. So you know what? I'm depending on you to do, as Spike Lee would say, the right thing. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Are you ready? Mosky, are you ready?
I'm ready, Steve.
Kansas, are you ready?
All right, we need everybody. Clap your hands like this. Everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap. Now somebody scream. Here we go.
Are y'all ready?
Oh, you're gonna have to get louder than that.
I want y'all to sing with me. Come on. People. People.
Yeah, sing.
People, man. Soldiers. Y'all say keep on going. Yeah. Oh. People, man. Are y'all with me? Keep on my hand. People, keep on my hand.
Somebody scream!
Wow. 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 I couldn't see the rest of y'all, but from back, Nebraska was getting down. Stevie's song is powerful, but so was his words. He said courage over complacency. He gave us a call in his remarks. But now I gotta tell you, the party is gonna keep going. We're just getting started, y'all. And this is a segment that I am very, very excited about, because it might be Wednesday night and we might be in Chicago, but it's starting to feel like something I've wanted to say my whole life. Live from New York, it's Saturday night. Please welcome Kenan Thompson.
All right. What's up, DNC? All right. Y'all remember this big old book from before? When Colorado Governor Jared Polis ripped the page out of it? This is Project 2025, the Republican blueprint for a second Trump term. It is boo. It is a real document that you can read for yourself at kamalaharris.com/Project 2025. You ever seen a document that could kill a small animal and democracy at the same time? Here it is. You know how when you download an app and there are hundreds of pages there that you don't read, it's just the terms and conditions, and you just click agree, right? Well, these are the terms and conditions of a second Trump presidency. You vote for him, you vote for all of this. Let's take a look. All right, do we got Matt here with us tonight? Is Matt here? Hey, there he is. Matt, how are you, sir? All right, Matt. Now, Matt, I understand that you work as an AV tech in Nevada, and you make a decent hourly wage, is that right? Oh, I don't know if we can hear Matt. Can we hear Matt? So who's gonna fix it? Keep speaking, Matt, till we can hear you. Okay, that's good. I guess we're gonna move on from Matt. And this is Becky. Becky, can we hear you?
Hi, Kenan. It's great to be here.
Thank you. All right, good. Now, Becky, you're married, correct?
I am. Me and my wife have been together for about 8 years.
Oh, that's amazing. Very, very cute.
Thanks.
But I have got some bad news for you.
I hate that.
On page 584, Project 2025 calls for the elimination of protections for LGBTQ plus Americans. So yeah, right back to the Stone Age. I'm afraid so.
Right back to the Stone Age. That's terrible.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Becky, for being here and making that wonderful point. All right, next up, we have Nirvana. Nirvana, are you with us? And your people are with us as well? All right, good. Now, Nirvana, I understand that you are on insulin to manage your diabetes, yes?
Yes, and thanks to President Biden and Vice President Harris, I only pay $35 a month for my insulin.
That is great. That is great. But on page 465, Project 2025 calls for millions of people like yourself to pay more for prescription drugs like insulin.
Why?
Why? Well, I guess maybe to help Big Pharma make more money that they can donate to Republican politicians, I assume.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, unfortunately, it does make sense. All right, let's talk to Anita. Anita, are you there? Yes. Hello, Anita.
Hello.
And Anita, what do you do for a living?
I'm an OBGYN who delivers babies and does surgery.
An OBGYN. She is an OBGYN that delivers babies. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah. It's bad news, isn't it?
It sure is. On page 459, Project 2025 resurrects a law from the 1800s called the Comstock Act to ban abortion nationwide and throw healthcare providers in jail.
Oh my God, that is awful.
Yes, it is awful. All right, let's do one more. Is Sharia with us? Sharia, are you there?
Hey, Keenan, I'm here.
Yes, Sharia, I love it. All right, let's talk to you. I understand that you work for the federal government?
Yes, sir. I'm in the United States Department of Education. I'm a proud civil servant and a proud union president.
She works for the Department of Education and she's a proud civil servant. Well, unfortunately for you, on page 78, Project 2025 calls for President Trump to purge the civil service of everyone who isn't a MAGA loyalist. Are you a MAGA loyalist?
Now, Keenan, absolutely not.
I'm just asking. I mean, you might as well be, because also page 319 calls for the complete elimination of the Department of Education. There's a bunch of stuff in here, but that's all we have time for at the moment. Just remember, everything that we just talked about is very real. It is in this book. You can read it online at kamalaharris.com/Project 2025. And most importantly, you can stop it from ever happening by electing Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States.
Please welcome award-winning producer and writer, Mindy Kaling.
Good evening, everyone. Hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the third night of the Democratic National Convention. My name is Mindy Kaling. Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I am an incredibly famous Gen Z actress who you might recognize from The Office. Thank you, The Mindy Project. Or as the woman who courageously outed Kamala Harris as Indian in an Instagram cooking video. Yes, you're welcome. I am so proud to be here supporting my friend. But the real reason I am here is that deep down, I truly believe that as a woman of color and as a single mother of 3, it is incredibly important that I be appointed ambassador to Italy. That's how this works, right? That's like why I'm here. I've never been, I'm dying to go. And guys, I just really need a break. I know it's not the priority tonight, but just think about it. I am actually here because I have known the Vice President for a long time, and I want to tell you a story about one of the first times I ever met her. She wasn't Madam Vice President then. She was my senator, and we were filming a video where she came to my home to cook dosas, a South Indian dish. Yes. It's not every day that a senator comes over, and I was pretty nervous. But when she arrived, we immediately hit it off. We talked about the love we have for our moms, who had both passed away from cancer. Both of our mothers were immigrants from India who came to America and committed their lives to serving others. My mother, Swati, became an OBGYN. Thank you. Kamala's mother, Shyamala, became a scientist with a PhD who dedicated her life to trying to find a cure for cancer. And after speaking to Kamala, it was clear to me that Shyamala had passed down the same optimism and fearlessness to her daughter. But the thing I remember the most about the vice president is that Kamala Harris can cook. Guys, she was so much better than me. But she also knew that my family was watching. So, as she gently corrected my sloppy dosa making, she was complimenting me every step of the way, making sure that my daughter Kit heard how good of a cook I am. She had no desire to be seen as better than anyone else. She just wanted my kid to be impressed with her mom. And when she finally bit into my dosa, she looked at me and said, really good, and then never took another bite again. Yes, but it is that warmth, that generosity of spirit that I know she will bring to the White House as our next president. Kamala Harris cares deeply about other people. She will fight to protect our freedoms because those are the values that her mother passed down to her. But in order to protect those freedoms, Democrats also need to win the House. So we have a lot to do, and please welcome to the stage your next Speaker of the House, Hakeem Jeffries.
Good evening, Democrats. It's a high honor and a distinct privilege as a Brooklynite, New Yorker, and as an American to stand before you today and unequivocally express my support for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be the next president and vice president of the United States of America. Over the last few years, House Democrats have been hard at work, and we could not have asked for a better leader to partner with than President Joseph Robinette Biden, who will go down as one of the most consequential presidents of all time. Last month, President Biden selflessly passed the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris, who is ready, willing, and able to fight for the people. Kamala Harris is a courageous leader, a compassionate leader, and a common sense leader who will deliver real results for everyday Americans. Kamala Harris is fighting for our freedom. Kamala Harris is fighting for our families. Kamala Harris is fighting for our future. Together, let's make Kamala Harris the 47th President of the United States of America. In our great country, when you work hard and play by the rules, you deserve to earn a living wage. You deserve to have an affordable place to call home. You deserve to educate your children in a great public school that is free from gun violence. And you deserve high-quality, affordable health care, and you deserve the chance to one day retire with grace and with dignity. But for far too many people in our great country, they are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. And as a result, the American dream is out of reach. Here's the thing. Extreme MAGA Republicans
don't care about everyday Americans. They only care about themselves. Our approach, led by Kamala Harris and Coach Walz, is very different. We care about you, the American people. And we will fight hard to make sure that the American dream is alive and well in every single community. Now, the road ahead will not be easy, which brings me to you-know-who. Donald Trump is like an old boyfriend who you broke up with, but he just won't go away. He has spent the last 4 years spinning the block, trying to get back into a relationship with the American people. Bro, we broke up with you for a reason. Trump was the mastermind of the GOP tax scam, where 83% of the benefits went to the wealthiest 1% in America. Trump failed our country during the COVID-19 pandemic. Trump is a chaos agent who is focused on himself, not the American people. Trump tried to destroy our democracy by lying about the election and inciting a violent mob to attack the Capitol. Trump put 3 extreme justices on the Supreme Court who destroyed Roe v. Wade. We broke up with you for a reason. Donald Trump can spin the block all he wants, but there's no reason for us to ever get back together. Been there, done that, we're not going back. Kamala Harris and House Democrats will always put people over politics. Kamala Harris and House Democrats will lower costs and grow the middle class. Kamala Harris and House Democrats will fix our broken immigration system and secure the border. Kamala Harris and House Democrats will strengthen the relationship between the police and the community. Kamala Harris and House Democrats will continue to combat the climate crisis with the fierce urgency of now. Kamala Harris and House Democrats will protect Social Security, protect Medicare, protect Medicaid, protect the Affordable Care Act, protect working families, protect small businesses, protect the middle class, protect free enterprise, protect our children, protect our seniors, protect our veterans, protect our unions, protect our dreamers, and always protect a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions. The extreme MAGA Republicans want to divide us. But the Constitution promises equal protection under the law. We are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Together, let's build a brighter future for our children and our grandchildren. In the Old Testament, book of Psalms, the scripture tells us that weeping may endure during the long night, but joy will come in the morning. Here's how we do it. Strategize on Sunday. Meet the moment on Monday. Take it to them on Tuesday. Work it out on Wednesday. Thank the Lord on Thursday. Fight the power on Friday. Set it off on Saturday. Get a few hours of sleep, wake up the next day, and do it all over again until joy comes in the morning. Now there's only 76 days left. There are only 76 days left We must continue to speak up. We must continue to show up. We must continue to stand up, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans. And when we do, nothing can stop Kamala Harris from becoming the 47th President of the United States of America. Nothing can stop House Democrats from taking back the majority. Nothing can stop the American people from continuing our march toward a more perfect union. Nothing can stop us. We're all the way up. God bless you. God bless Kamala Harris. May God bless the United States of America.
You want to go outside today?
Yeah.
Want to go put your shoes on?
Yes.
Let's go outside. Ruby is 2 years old. I'm starting to think, will she be an iron worker like her dad? I hate to break it to you, but I'm not a billionaire. Donald Trump talked a big game about bringing jobs back to America, but it was all talk, like Foxconn.
This is the 8th wonder of the world. Foxconn, by most estimates, has not even come close to meeting expectations.
This whole project was a scam. He is not looking out for the residents. He's looking out for himself.
You know what Trump delivered? $2 trillion in tax cuts focused on his billionaire buddies and big corporations.
You're rich as hell.
It makes me angry. Billionaires don't pay their share of the load. And he wants to do that again. Trump talked a massive game about infrastructure. What a joke.
We call it Infrastructure Week. Infrastructure is the easiest of all. We're going to get this infrastructure going.
Trump was too incompetent to get it done. Who's he looking out for? Not us, not my family. You know who got it done? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Biggest infrastructure package in history. Infrastructure is just a fancy word for jobs. Not just union workers, but for everyone. Small businesses are booming. Communities are starting to thrive again. I wish it was faster. The prices are easing. Kamala Harris helped deliver the largest job growth in American history. Wages are higher. Manufacturing is booming. We're building roads, bridges, airports again. That's a fact. And we have healthcare.
When our middle class is strong, America is strong.
Kamala's goal is to rebuild the middle class for families like mine.
Please welcome the 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton.
Thank you. Thank you. Whoa. Let me ask you something. After the last 2 days, aren't you proud to be a Democrat? And I am very grateful to the Republicans and independents that have joined us, have been up here on the stage. And I hope they feel better about it now. Because I've seen all these things that even I have to be reminded of from time to time when I get my spirits down. I love seeing the Obamas here. I love seeing President Biden. And I thought Hillary gave a great speech, too. And
I love seeing all these young leaders. A bunch of them are coming up after me. They look better, they sound better, and they'll be exciting. I do want to say one word about President Biden. Remember, he had an improbable turn that made him president. And we were in the middle of a pandemic and an economic crash. He healed our sick and put the rest of us back to work. And he strengthened our alliances for peace and security. He stood up for Ukraine. He's trying desperately to get a ceasefire in the Middle East. And then he did something that's really hard for a politician to do. He voluntarily gave up political power. And George Washington knew that, and he did it. And he set the standard for us serving 2 terms before it was mandatory. It helped his legacy, and it will enhance Joe Biden's legacy. And it's a stark contrast to what goes on in the other party. So I want to thank him for his courage, compassion, his class, his service, his sacrifice. Joe Biden, thank you. And he kept the faith, and he's infected a lot of the rest of us. Now let's cut to the chase. I am too old to gild the lily. 2 days ago, I turned 78, the oldest man in my family of 4 generations. And the only personal vanity I want to assert is I'm still younger than Donald Trump. Last night, in what I thought was a very moving series of episodes, we nominated Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And just think about that. 2 leaders with all-American but still improbable life stories. It could only happen here. Their careers, after all, started in community courtrooms and classrooms. 2 leaders who spent a lifetime getting the good job done. Now, one of the things that I've noticed over my increasingly long life is that a presidential election is unique in several ways. First of all, it's the greatest job interview for the greatest job in the world. Secondly, the Constitution says we, the people, get to do the hiring. And the third thing is that every 4 years, we get to change the requirements for the job. So here's what I'm thinking, because I try to apply this in every election. Will this president take us backward or forward? Will this president give our kids a brighter future? Depends. Will this president bring us together or tear us apart? Will the president increase the peace, security, and stability and freedom that we enjoy and extend it to others as we can. We, the people, we have to make a decision about these kind of questions. And every 4 years, it's a little different because the people come at the candidates, and they say, as they're saying now, here are our problems, solve them. Here are our opportunities, seize them. Here are our fears, ease them. Here are our dreams, help them come true. A president can answer that call by saying, I'll do my part, but you have to help me. We have to work together. Or you can dodge what needs to be done by dividing, distracting, and diverting us. So in 2024, we got a pretty clear choice, it seems to me. Kamala Harris for the people, and the other guy who's proved even more than the first go-around that he's about me, myself, and I. I know which one I like better for our country. Kamala Harris will work to solve our problems, seize our opportunities, ease our fears, and make sure every single American, however they vote, has a chance to chase their dreams. You know, when she was young, she worked at McDonald's. And she greeted every person with that 1,000-watt smile and said, how can I help you? Now she's at the pinnacle of power and she's still asking, how can I help you? I'll be so happy when she actually enters the White House as president, because she will break my record as the president who spent the most time at McDonald's. Now, but we got an election to win. And remember, we've got a guy that's pretty good at what he does. Donald Trump has been a paragon of consistency. He's still dividing, he's still blaming, he's still belittling other people. He creates chaos, and then he sort of curates it as if it were precious art. Let me say, not a single day goes by, even though I've been gone for well over 23 years from the White House, not a day goes by that I don't thank the Lord for the chance I had to serve and what it meant. And one of the reasons, thank you. Wait. One of the reasons I love the job so much is that in the toughest times, even on the darkest days, if you tried hard enough, there was always something good you could do for somebody else. Now, some days that's not easy to do. You've got to deal with all these emergencies or there's something going on here, there, or yonder, but Kamala Harris is the only candidate in this race who has the vision, the experience, the temperament, the will, and yes, the sheer joy to get something done. I mean, look, what does her opponent do with his voice? He mostly talks about himself, right? So the next time you hear him, don't count the lies. Count the eyes. Count the eyes. His vendettas, his vengeance, his complaints, his conspiracies. He's like one of those tenors opening up before he walks out on stage, like I did, trying to get his lungs open by singing me, 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 me. When Kamala Harris is president, every day will begin with you, 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 you. So, we got to ask ourselves the questions if we're going to hire a president. Do you want to build a strong economy from the bottom up and the middle out? Or do you want to spend the next 4 years talking about crowd size? You're going to have a hard time believing this, but so help me, I triple-checked it. Since the end of the Cold War in 1989, America has created about 51 million new jobs. I swear I checked this 3 times. Even I couldn't believe it. What's the score? Democrats 50, Republicans 1. I'm glad that we've got a championship-winning coach on our team. But even the most limited of us in what we know about football or any other sport knows that if you're got 50 and the other side's got 1, you're ahead. What about affordable housing? It's a terrible problem in America now. We need more. And affordable health care. That's why the Democrats put a limit on monthly payments for insulin and a $2,000 a year out-of-pocket limit, and are trying to cover more drugs by bargaining for prices. We need more financing for small businesses. We need still to strengthen our alliances. I almost croaked in the first debate of this election season when President Trump said nobody respected America anymore like they did when he was president. Wait. And with a straight face. Look, you got to give him. He's a good actor. With a straight face, he cited as evidence of the respect that existed for us when he was there, the presidents of North Korea and Russia. I'd rather have the people who respect us now. And one of the things is when you send a signal to the other countries, you want them to know whether they agree with you or not, at least that you're on the level, that here's where you are and what you believe. What are they supposed to make to these endless tributes to the late, great Hannibal Lecter? I mean, President Obama once gave me the great honor of saying I was the explainer-in-chief. Folks, I've thought and thought about it, and I don't know what to say. Like Hakeem Jeffries, I too want an America that's more joyful, more inclusive, more future-focused. Just think what a burden it's been on us to get up day after day after day after day, buried in meaningless hot rhetoric, when there's so many opportunities out there, so many problems that need to be solved. I want that. And that's the America Kamala Harris will lead. And she's already made her first presidential decision, and she knocked it out of the park when she asked Governor Tim Walz to be her nominee for vice president. As they used to say when I was a young man growing up in Arkansas, you do not have to be all broke out with brilliance. You just look at Tim Walz, listen to him, follow his record as a teacher, as a coach, in the National Guard, as a congressman, where he was the only Democrat, save one, elected in that district in more than 100 years. And he stayed a long time. And then he became a great governor. And by all accounts, he was a crack shot who had the courage among his rural constituents to say, we do not need these assault weapons available to people who can kill our kids in school. So, armed with her first decision, Kamala Harris confronts an interesting dilemma. We're going to walk out of here feeling pretty good, I think. We've got energy, we are happy, we feel like a load's off our shoulders. And we know we're just being asked to fight the same fight that the forces of progress have had to fight for 250 years. In the face of stiff and often violent opposition, we have to find a way to go forward together, where we the people make our union more perfect. So that's a good thing. How could we possibly lose? Kamala Harris has fought for kids her whole life that were left out and left behind. She's taken on gangs trafficking across the border. She's fought to protect the rights of homeowners. She's been our leader in the fight for reproductive freedoms, and we know a majority of the American people are with us on that. And she's gained an invaluable amount of experience as vice president, advancing our values and interests around the world. She's already said she's going to work really hard to make sure that no American working full-time lives in poverty or has to worry about their children living in poverty. He says that we got to make home ownership an achievable dream for everyone, not just a privilege. She said that and this meant a lot to me, that she would protect everybody's right to vote, whether or not they voted for her. They were citizens and they deserve the right to vote. The other day, her opponent implied that as his people voted one more time, they'd be able to rig it from now on and they wouldn't